Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday morning. That means Writers Chat. So we are so glad you're here. We're glad you're here if you're here, and we're also glad if you're watching the replay. We're so thankful that you do that. My name is Johnny Alexander. I'm joined by co-hosts Melissa Stroh and Brandy Brow, and Pam Halter is with us, and so are some other people, and who are more than welcome to come on. We said it before the recording. I'm going to say it again. If you want to just stay on, you can, because this is a one of our fun writers chat episodes where it's an open mic. There's Patricia, she's popped in, and we're going to do come right with that. So I'm going to turn everything over to Brandy, and she's going to lead this episode for us as we actually put into practice writing.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. What we're doing is come right with us. And I've kind of titled this, I should say, Melissa titled this. I knew what I wanted to do, but she gave it the title Great Sentences, Prompts from the Past. So, all of my examples today about great sentences are from mostly public domain works. I think I have one thing from E.B. White, which I believe might still be in copyright, but it's one sentence and attributed, so we're good on that. Um, I have a presentation, so I'm going to start that. And would just want to say I had a little bit of trouble with my internet just before
Yeah.
starting, so hopefully it will be good because I restarted my computer. But if I get a little glitchy, bear with me. Hopefully not, because that's no fun for anybody. Let me share my screen. All righty,
Oh, yay.
here we go. Great sentences, prompts from the past. I'm so excited to do this because Um, it's funny. Some people say, "Why do you like to write?" And they're like, "Oh, I love writing because I love storytelling." I'm one of those weirdos that I love sentences. I mean, I like a good story, but sentences just make me so excited. Um, Now, a lot of historical writing, past writing, not historical as in like modern historical, as in like classic, back in, early 1900s, 1800s, that kind of writing. It has a bad rap for bad writing. Um, and that's because writing was really different then. There was a lot more telling. We've refined the way that we do things. We have a shorter attention span these days. And so, not everything that we read back then we think is great. So, I have pulled out some examples from the past, and these might not be wholly great sentences, but they have great elements. So, let's take a look at what we have. This piece, and you will notice that several of these are from the fairy tales of Hans Christian Andersen. That's because I have been reading through that. And if you have never read through that, it is like a monster to read. It's huge. I've been reading it for months and months and months, but I'm finally like 95% through. But consequently, a lot of these sentences have come from there, but they're not only from there. So this one I found great content in. It is from a story from the Sandhills. Oh, and you will notice in some of these snippets that the punctuation might be a little different than we would do today, and that's because, again, it's older writing. So this one from Hans Christian Andersen. There was only a rough bench in the cell, but a good conscience is a soft pillow, and therefore Jurgen could sleep well. I find that fantastic content because it's got a great illustration between a soft conscience, I mean a good conscience and a soft pillow. And even though he's in a rough situation, it gives you the idea, rough situation, but he still has some peace. I absolutely love the sentence for that. And it just kind of sets your mind off in all these different things. Next, this is from The Kingdom of God is Within You by Count Leo Tolstoy, as translated by Constant Garnett. A man cannot but suffer when his whole life is defined beforehand for him by laws, which he must obey under threat of punishment, though he does not believe in their wisdom or justice, and often clearly perceives their injustice, cruelty, and artificiality. It's kind of a chunker of a sentence. A lot of sentences these days are shorter, sweeter, and don't have as much grit or as much, what's the word I'm looking for? Just stuff, a lot of stuff in it. This one, you kind of got to chew on it again. So it's like a man cannot but suffer when his whole life is defined beforehand for him by laws, which he must obey under threat of punishment, though he does not believe in their wisdom or justice, and often clearly perceives their injustice, cruelty, and artificiality. It makes you think and kind of gets you set up to what's coming next because this has got a lot in it.
Mhm.
So I really love the sentence for that. Now, these days we might break it up a little bit, make it more easy to digest. Um, but this is not that bad of a huge sentence. I have seen a lot longer. I got to tell you the worst sentence, and Melissa's going to laugh because she's heard me say this before. The worst sentence I have ever read was by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It spanned 1.5 pages and had, I counted, 42 punctuation marks, most of them colons and semicolons and commas. I mean, I kept reading and reading and reading, and I was just so dumbfounded at how long the sentence went on that I had to stop and count. And this was back in high school, so I wasn't even into writing yet. I just could not believe this. And of course, by the time you get to the end of a sentence like that, you have clearly forgotten what was at the beginning. Forget about the middle. And then what was it trying to say? It completely lost me. So these sentences are much better, except for one. I have one in here we'll take a look at later. Here's great description from the Storks, also a fairy tale of Hans Christian Andersen. Yes, it is a delightful place. There is nothing to do all day long but eat. And while we are so well off out there in this country, there will not be a single green leaf on the trees, and the weather will be so cold that the clouds will freeze and fall on the earth in little white rags.
Mm.
I looked at that last, the beginning is not fantastic for how it starts, but the ending with a description of snow, clouds freezing and falling to earth in little white rags is so descriptive and makes you look at an ordinary thing in a very different way. Great writing does that. So I love this sentence for that. Next, in another great description, is from Under the Willow Tree, also a fairy tale of Andersen. So he traveled onwards over a grand, lofty chain of mountains, over rugged, rocky precipices, and along roads that hung on the mountain's side like a swallow's nest. Can't you just see that? How you have roads just clinging to the side of a mountain like a swallow's nest. It's like such imagery. I just absolutely love this. I'm going to say that a lot. I love this. Pardon me now. This is a great sense of place from The Ugly Duckling. You remember that story? You might have heard of it, read it when you were a child, and maybe not realized it was an antiquated story that had been retold, as many of these are. This one has a great sense of place. In a sunny spot stood a pleasant old farmhouse close by a deep river, and from the house down to the water side grew great burdock leaves, so high that under the tallest of them a little child could stand upright.
Nice.
I won't say it again, but it's just a wonderful sense of place. You can really picture this little spot under these leaves. Another one, great sense of place. This is Under the Willow Tree. The pointed towers, the decorated and open cloisters, the stately columns, the white statues, which smiled upon him from every corner and porch and arch, all, even the church itself, seemed to him to have been formed from the snow of his native land. Next one. Great visuals. Also, Under the Willow Tree. Nud listened, but he felt as if the world had slid out of its course. His thoughts were like a loose thread fluttering to and fro in the wind. Now, I cheated. This is two sentences, but I put the first one there because I felt the second one needed a little bit of context. His thoughts were like a loose thread fluttering to and fro in the wind. When you compare something like a thread with thoughts and put them together in an image, where one describes the other, it just creates magic. Another great visual from Under the Willow Tree. Here grew no elder. Here was not even a flower pot with its little green plant, but just opposite the wood workshop stood a great willow tree, which seemed to hold fast to the house for fear of being carried away by the water.
Hmm.
This one is similar to the roads hugging the mountainside, but this was really neat imagery to think of a willow tree holding fast to a house so it doesn't get run away by the water. This one's great intrigue. No one knew the color of the sky from the Red Badge of Courage, Stephen Crane. I found this really intriguing because everybody knows the sky is blue, right? I mean, so it's like, why does nobody know the color of the sky? What's wrong with, is there something wrong with the people? Is there something wrong with the sky? Is there something wrong with what's going on around them so they can't see the sky? There's just so much here that you're like, what in the world? So, yeah, no one knew the color of the sky. That one just really got me. And it's short, it's not this giant long thing. And yeah, great action from The Ugly Duckling,
Hmm.
Hans Christian Andersen. The warmth revived the poor little creature, but when the children wanted to play with him, the duckling thought they would do him some harm, so he started up in a terror, fluttering into the milk pan and splashed the milk about the room. Just, he's doing something. You can see him panicking when he's fluttering in a milk pan and splashing milk everywhere. So I think Great Sentence has a lot of these components. Obviously, you can't stuff all of these components into the same sentence, or you're going to end up with, well, maybe a page and a half long sentence of just not good things. Great brevity with depth. Think about this one. Even crumbs are bread. This is from What One Can Invent by also Hans Christian Andersen. Even crumbs are bread. And yeah, they probably could use a little bit of context, but this context was basically, should I discard, this small little nugget of thing when even that's bread and I'm looking for bread? So it just kind of makes you think even crumbs are bread. So something small can make you think a lot. Oftentimes, too many words will just shut down your thinking because you're like, nope, nope, just cluttered. This I thought was great everything. This is by E.B. White, One Man's Meat. If you have never read this book, you should pick it up. It's great. The elevator boy in my hotel, after he has shut the grilled gate and started the car, always slips his hand through the bars of the gate so that as he passes each floor, the sill plate will give him a dangerous little kiss on the end of his finger. What do
Hmm.
y'all think about that one?
Hmm.
It's kind of packed, but it has interesting content. It has some sensory detail, especially when he slips his fingers and he gets a dangerous little kiss on the end of his finger. It has good imagery with that. It has a little bit of, matches an illustration of a kiss on the end of his finger. And it's something about this is that it's unexpected. You don't expect this boy or anybody to slip their fingers through and put their hands in such a way that it would do that. So that's why I thought this was great everything. Now I have to say, a lot of these sentences, other people may find, oh, well, that's not great at all. I think that's terrible. And this kind of happens a lot with writing. Like if you go to submit your story to a publisher and you think it's great, but they're like, nah. And that's because everybody has a different taste. So where I think this is great, somebody else may be like, well, I don't think that's great at all. And that's okay.
You know what else too, Brandy, with this sentence that I didn't get from all the other ones here?
Mhm.
This shows us something about that boy's character, who he is.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. So that's this has so many different things in it that you can pick out that are good about it. And that's one, and it even makes you wonder about the narrator, thinks something enough about this that he has to say something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would he do this? Yeah, that's a very good point, character. I just knew there's like a lot of great things in this. Now here's one that's not so great. And guess who it's from? Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Not a
Now,
fan, huh?
the page and a half sentence. This is mild compared to that. The page and a half sentence came from House of the Seven Gables. This is from the Scarlet Letter. And let me read it to you. It is fantastically terrible. And he's not alive, so he can't be offended. He can't watch the replay.
No.
In my native town of Salem, at the head of what, half a century ago in the days of old King Derby, was a bustling wharf, but which is now burdened with decayed wooden warehouses and exhibits few or no symptoms of commercial life, except perhaps a bark or brig, halfway down its melancholy length, discharging hides, or, nearer at hand, a Nova Scotia schooner pitching out her cargo of firewood at the head. I say, and that's a comma, I say, of this dilapidated wharf, which the tide often overflows, and along which, at the base and in the rear of the row of the buildings, the track of many languid years is seen in a border of unthrifty grass. Here, with a view from its front windows adown, this not very enlivening prospect, and thence across the harbor, stands a spacious edifice of brick.
And he had the nerve to call women authors a bunch of damn scribbling women.
That I did not know.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that either.
yeah.
I did not know that. Yeah. Yeah. So, um, please comments about this sentence. I want to hear what you have to say and why you think this might not be a great sentence.
Well, I'm going to say that for that time, it probably was a great sentence because the same way with Moby Dick, which I've read once and will never read again in my lifetime. It, these people don't have TVs and they've not been to a lot of places. And so description was a very big part of stories written in that time because that was the only way to give the picture of these places that readers from other places would not know. They would not understand. And that is why we see so much description in books that we don't see now, because now people are, even if they've not been to Paris, they get the sense of Paris. They get the sense of New York City. They get the sense of even like China or, Russia and far away exotic places, which they just didn't have then.
Hmm.
One thing that I find interesting is the use of commas and em dashes one right after the other, because usually if you have one, you do not need the other, right? And
Hmm.
we do not write like that anymore. So it's interesting that it's not just a pause. He's got a big pause there. It's like a double pause. So yeah, it's not something I've read the Scarlet Letter a couple of times again. I would not look forward to necessarily reading it again. And it's difficult. But for the time, the people of the time, you can see why it's a classic. Because you certainly can't envision what he's saying. He's doing very well at that, bringing this place to life.
Well, I kind of differ with that opinion because there is so much here, and you go from here to here to here to here that it makes you lose sight of what he's really trying to say. There's just too many things and it clutters the brain and gets you
But
off
is
track. So for me,
does it
that's
clutter our brains, but it might not have cluttered the brains of readers at that time?
maybe
Yeah, because
it
we
wasn't
are
a page
again.
and a half long. So
Right. Longer attention spans, probably a slower reading pace. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know, if that would be true. But they're reading this for leisure, where, even when we read for leisure, it seems like we read very fast and we want snippets and we want to
mhm.
get to the point
Yep.
and we want to get there. We're not willing just to settle in and let a long book take a long time to read necessarily. So yeah, you know, I
And
see
one thing I
both
do have to
ways.
say positive about this is that he did not forget where he was going. He ended up ending
Mm-hmm.
with
True.
stands a spacious edifice of brick, which was his point.
Yeah.
But, there could have been better ways around that. And there were authors of his time that did not write like this. So it wasn't everybody that wrote like this. Others wrote, and they're like, oh, if we want to put all that, I'll put this here and I'll take this out and put this here separately so that it's clearer and easier to understand. So it was more acceptable in that day, but not everybody wrote like that
Yeah.
either. Anybody else have any comments? If not, that's fine. It's kind of a chunky thing to look at.
Yeah, it is.
I did get a sense of like, so crammed full that you don't see the forest for the trees kind of
Hmm.
thing. And you do kind of have to go back over it, especially, well, in this case, I'm reading it while other people are talking. So it's kind of, you're reading it distracted anyway.
Yeah.
But to look at it honestly, if you were reading it in leisure time and downtime, I might be able to come at it with a little more. But yeah, that was my
Yep.
first feeling was like, there's a lot here, but it does kind of distract me a little.
Yep. Yep. And it's certainly not on par with what we do today.
Mm-mm.
So now here's another contrast. Not great, but it is really short. It was a dark and stormy night. Why is this not great?
Well, it's telling for one thing, so I mean we'll get
Yep.
that out. I just love though that this little short sentence has become the epitome of a not great sentence. Like it's, you would find it in the Peanuts cartoons with Snoopy on top of his doghouse with his typewriter, and he would type this out. It was a dark and stormy night.
Yep.
And now there's a contest of like try to write the worst first sentences named for this guy, this
Hmm.
poor guy. you know? This
Yes.
is what
And
he's
so
most
this is
known
from the
for.
book. This is from the book Paul Clifford by Edward Bulwer Lytton. Lytton, I think I
And
said.
isn't it the first sentence in the book?
It is the first sentence in
Yeah,
the
the
book.
very first sentence in the book.
Now,
He's
did
telling
you?
you right where you are.
Yes. Well, did you know that this is actually not the first sentence in the book?
No, I wasn't sure. I thought it was,
Well,
but
it is, but it
okay.
isn't.
Oh, okay.
So this is not great, right? Because, it's telling and it's
Mm.
non-descriptive. It uses generic words.
Although, why do I love this?
I know. It's direct.
It is, and it makes me want to know what happened that dark and stormy night. It's
Yeah.
passive voice, so I'd fix that, but I really like this.
Okay. Well, it's not great, but is it? Here's actually the full sentence.
Oh my
Mm.
goodness, there's more
There's
to
more. It was
it.
a dark and stormy night, semicolon. The rain fell in torrents, except at occasional intervals when it was checked by a violent gust of wind which swept up the streets, for it is in London that our scene lies, rattling along the housetops and fiercely agitating the scanty flame of the lamps that struggled against the darkness. That's the first sentence.
How about that?
Yeah. So people pick on this and they're not really looking at the entire sentence. The
Mhm.
entire sentence, isn't it's actually not bad. It's descriptive.
Yeah.
It gives you a picture.
So a good editor should have just swiped that out, redlined. It was a dark and stormy night, and let him start with the rain fell in torrents.
Uh-huh. Well, you know what? We're right now we're gonna make it great. Ready? Rain fell in torrents over London, except at
There you
occasional
go.
intervals when it was checked by a violent gust of wind that swept up the streets, rattled along the housetops, and fiercely agitated the scanty flame of lamps that struggled against the darkness.
Yeah,
Yep,
very nice.
yep. So we do. We took out the telling. We took out excess words. We took out generic words, and we made everything active. And look at that. It's like it's almost there
Yeah.
for, our standards today. I was actually really surprised when I looked up this sentence and found the full thing because nobody ever talks about the full thing, and the full sentence is actually pretty darn good.
And like I said, he's known
Yeah.
for writing this awful first sentence that there's a contest named for him
Yeah.
that takes place
Yeah.
every year for people
Yep.
to write horrible first sentences.
That's true.
And I never knew there was more to it either. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, yay, Brandy.
All right. Next slide. You get to all make this one great.
Oh my goodness. Is that our job? Okay.
That's your job. That's one of your jobs. We're gonna work on this one for not too long because it's a beast. Um, I have to find, let's see. Ah, so I was going to put on a timer, but lo and behold, I'm not sure where the timer is at the moment. as I'm screen sharing. So,
You had to give us this long one, right?
yeah, you get this big long one. Whoops, he's back. Oh no, here. What I will do for the moment is I think I can start the timer and then restart the screen share so
Okay.
that you can. Do you guys, is my screen off? Am I like, did I stop screen sharing suddenly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't hit stop. It just stopped. So,
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
no, that's okay. Because that works fine. I just want to make sure I have everything. Okay. So,
Brandy, can you paste it in chat?
already ahead of you. I had it already copied and ready to go. I just hadn't pasted it yet. That way you guys can snab that from the chat. Snab
That's a
is not
good
a word,
idea.
but
Yeah. Oh, just to copy paste it. Oh, I was going to free write with my.
Me
yeah,
too, but it's too long.
it
It
is
is.
long,
It
but
is long.
but you can grab it from the chat and look at that. But I'm also going to put it back up on the screen, assuming that um all of this plays nice to me. I want to start a timer, but I couldn't find the apps section on there while I was back up. We'll just mess with this for about 7 minutes.
Okay.
I'll start a timer and then I will start the screen share, and hopefully the two of those will play at the same time so you can see both the prompt and the timer. All right, here we go. Okie dokie. Stop the share so I can stop the timer. All right. That was kind of a beast, and I'm sure as you tackled it, you probably realized very quickly that this one sentence could not stay one sentence.
You want to bet? No. I did not make it one sentence. That would have been funny, wouldn't it?
Would have.
I tried.
And I bet it took some time to separate out parts to figure out what it was trying to really say and what the heart of it was, which means it probably took a long time to get very little written. Am I about right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
trying to decide, do I include every detail in some way or do I leave
Yes,
some out?
exactly. When you have something like this, you can't keep everything. You need to figure out what the heart of it is and go with that. And sometimes that even means deleting something and putting in something else to
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
get at what this is really trying to say. So, does anybody want to share what they wrote?
Christine,
Christine?
she's ready. You're muted, though. We need you to
I
unmute.
know.
Okay.
I'm not muted anymore.
Okay, good.
I'm excited. I'm excited. And you know what? I can't guarantee there's not passive voice in here because I love me some passive voice. Um, all right. Do you want me to share my screen too?
No, just read it.
Okay. All right. The boat spit out her cargo like a regurgitating penguin in the mouth of her young, bundles of bristling fuel, firewood to warm the homes and hearths, lay in heaps on the sea-worn wharf. Close by, row houses stood close together, as if cuddling close to hide from the cold ocean torrent, their front yards speckled with desperate grasses hanging on to the last of what the sea left. And if I had read, I did not read the whole thing, I would not have put close 3 times.
That's that's all right. Though you know we're all editing in our heads. We can't
Yep.
comment.
Yes, we are.
Do you want me to copy and paste it in chat so you can really tear it up? There we go. We'll do that.
Okay, you can edit mine in your heads.
All right. One
Okay.
more.
50 years ago, the bustling wharf in Salem saw ships and schooners aplenty. Today, however, it is burdened with decay, dilapidation, and death. Still, there are times when a bark, brig, or a Nova Scotia schooner will slide along its melancholy length, bringing their cargo at the head, even though the tide often overflows the dilapidated wharf. The proof can be seen in the border of unthrifty grass in the rear of the row of buildings.
You got a lot in there.
I like
Oh, I
that.
tried to keep a lot of his words.
You did. Decay, something, and death, those three words together.
Decay, dilapidation, and death.
Yeah, that was
I like
really,
alliteration.
yeah,
Yep.
that was really good. That was
Yep.
good. Well,
I
I
mean,
want to read mine because I got a voice in my
Please.
head. So, and I went with it. Okay. You remember King Derby, don't you? At least heard stories about him, might expect, that he's been gone low these many years. Well, I'm here to tell you that I come from Salem, born and raised there, and the town was different then. Now you see all these old warehouses, the wood so rotten it's only good for the fire, and rarely a boat to be seen. But back in the day, all that unthrifty grass at the back there was thrifted, I tell you. Thick and green as a blanket of emeralds. And over there, on the other side of the harbor, a brazen brick wall.
Nice.
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 It was thrifted, I tell you.
I
I
like
know,
it.
I love
Love
that.
it.
I caught
Love
that
it
unthrifty grass. I know
so much.
what the thrifted. It was thrifted.
I like that.
Love it. I love the voice. Love it.
Yes. That
Now, I
was
went more
awesome.
with just trying to edit
No.
the
Mhm.
sentence. So here's what I came up with. You'll notice I didn't get far. In my native town, what was once A bustling wharf half a century ago in the days of old King Dermy now is occupied only by decayed wooden warehouses surrounded by unthrifty graft. Little commercial life, save for a bark or brig halfway down its somber length, or Nova Scotia schooner pitching out her cargo of firewood. And I didn't finish my sentence because the timer ran. Melissa?
Mine's, yeah, considerably cropped, but I did try to keep some of his flavor anyway. I wrote, where once stood a bustling wharf in my native town of Salem, now languishes melancholy edifice of brick. Or sorry, melancholy edifice of brick, void of commercial life, its track a languid, I cannot read right now, its track of languid years overgrown in a border of unthrifty grass. And I kind of botched that just because I
We all
didn't
like
read
the
it well.
unthrifty grass
We do.
today.
We like
Yeah,
that
we did. We
little
really claimed that
phrase.
unthrifty
Mhm.
grass.
Well, you know what? We all navigated towards that because it's specific.
And it's
Yeah.
different. It's so
It's
Yeah.
and it's
different.
visual.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a reason we went there. Okay. One more thing. We're gonna write one more time, but these are just to some prompts. So I'm going to start the timer, but I'm going to talk first, and then I'll let you go. Because since I can't really do the timer when I'm sharing my screen. So, okay, so I'll start my timer and share my screen. Okay, prompts. Uh,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh.
Appeared. It
What?
appeared and disappeared.
Okay, hold on. Am I still sharing anything or not?
No.
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 Okay,
Is it
that's fine.
because of the timer? Because the
Nope,
timer's showing. Okay.
nope. Hold on, I just have to stop this again. No, it's because I clicked out of it and there we are. Prompts.
Okay.
These are 4 different prompts. You can choose whatever fits you. Fiction, nonfiction. There's kind of 2 for each. I may tell you unpleasant truths, but that is a proof of my friendship. That's from the Ugly Duckling. Round about the garden ran a hedge of hazel bushes. Beyond the hedge were fields and meadows of cows and sheep, but in the middle of the garden stood a rose tree in bloom, under which sat a snail, whose shell contained a great deal, that is,
Oh,
himself. This is from The Snail and the Rose Tree, from Hans Christian Andersen as well. 3 of these are. On board a steamer, I once met an elderly man with such a merry face that, if it was really an index of his mind, he must have been the happiest fellow in creation. And indeed, he considered himself so, for I heard it from his own mouth. That is The Puppet Show Man. And then last, this is from The Exile of Gale by John Boyle O'Reilly, which is from the book The American Spirit in the Writings of Americans of Foreign Birth. The sentence: the sword we hold may be broken, but we have not dropped the hilt. So I will leave you to writing. It's about a little
So
under
what are we doing with the
pick
prompts?
one.
Are we
Pick
and
one and write anything based on one of the prompts.
okay.
And you have about 6.5 minutes now just to make sure that we can end in a timely manner, but still be able to share. Go ahead.
okay.
Welcome back. I know that was short, um, but it's getting near the top of the hour, and I wanted to give you a little bit of time to share what you might have gotten down.
I'm in a silly mood this morning. I'm sorry. This is what it is.
I
I
like
love it.
silly moods.
I
So
love it already, Johnny.
here we go. So it's the one about, so you have to lead into it about the guy with the elderly face, and he told me so himself. And then he told me, much to my disinterest, all about his native town of Salem, as if I care a whit about Salem. And to presume I've ever heard tell of King Derby, who is he? The royal monarch of haberdashery? If I could have spoken any words beyond, and is that so, I'd have declared the only Salem I know was inhabited by witches, that my forefathers revolted against a king, and even now my sword may be broken, the blood-soaked blade glistening in thrifted grass, but I forever hold its hilt.
That's fantastic.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Brandy, but that's where my mind is.
No, I love
No,
it.
why are you
Love
sorry?
it.
Bravo. Bravo.
Oh, that's
God.
great. I
Okay.
don't have anything else to say other than that's great. Just I might say read it again, but others won't be able to share. Oh, you're
No,
just
thanks.
Too
That was
funny.
fun. I really,
That
it
was
was
fun.
fun.
I did the snail one. So after, the sentence, the last sentence, which I can't remember, the snail about his filling up his shell with himself.
yep.
The snail had claimed the rose tree for his territory 5 years ago, and so far no one had challenged him for those rights. Today, however, the breeze changed direction and brought the fragrance of disturbed soil. The snail lifted his head and sniffed. He had never smelled that smell before. What could it mean? The soil scent lasted all afternoon. By dinner time, he was plenty sick and tired of it. How dare this smell take over the sweet perfume of the rose tree? He decided to venture out from under it and investigate what might be happening.
Ooh,
Nice.
I really like that sentence too with the story because, as I was trying to decide which one to write, it was like, I forget exactly the last line too, but it's like the shell was full of
The shell
himself.
contained a
Himself.
great deal that is himself.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then it was like, well, that's so, I don't know, that really just like struck something in me, but is that true of all of us? I mean, we
Mm.
inhabit ourself, and it was just
True.
like, okay, this gets kind of philosophical.
I kind of it made to me made me feel that he was a little pompous. So
Yeah, oh, I see. I didn't take it that way. That's interesting. But I love how, you're our children's author here and you immediately went with, him as your protagonist and as,
yeah,
and gave him a voice and a personality and that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody
I'll
else like
go.
to share? Yeah, please.
Trying to remember which one it was. I think it was the top one.
I may tell you unpleasant truths, but that is a
Yes.
proof of my
That's a
friendship.
good one.
Yes.
That was good.
As one who normally shrinks from too harsh of reality, I find myself drawn to the pointed truths like arrows aimed to strike at change, but lobbed gently on the ground within my reach. I stoop to pick up the first. The message sharp but rounded to grip my attention at what might have rocked my confidence. I'm listening. I'm here. Waiting for the next suggestion prompted from a friend who aims to sharpen me with truths bold and ideas dear. If only I could be such a friend to another. If only I could wrap these arrows like gold and silver and frame them within. I am proof of a rare and precious friendship. I won't shrink from change to reach my best self because you cared for me.
Hmm.
wow,
Lovely.
I love
wow,
that.
And that's our poet.
yeah,
It's so fun to see like like with your guys' readings, just that how you pull from who you are, what God actually designed you to be as a writer, and it just flows. That's so cool.
Mm, yeah.
I found it a very adult response to a child's story.
Mm,
Maturity,
hmm
whereas a child might like, why are you telling me this? Because I love you.
hmm
That's why.
Yep.
But this was a more complex and more thought out adult version of it, which was nice.
Thank you.
Melissa,
I
I
know
see you
she's
smiling over
smiling.
there.
A little
Oh,
grin there. Let's go for it.
oh, mine's not very big. It's just a little thing. I did the sword we hold may be broken, but we have not dropped the hilt. And all mine says is, for at least with it we remain armed. Those who loosed their grip in ages past relinquished their hold on freedom and quickly succumbed to the reign of tyranny. Woe to become like them and forsake its necessity. At the least, a broken blade may be reforged anew.
Mm,
Wow,
Nice.
Mhm.
that's very nice.
like that.
I
I see
thought you
another
might
one.
pick that one.
Yeah, that's just natural
Can't
fit.
resist. Can't
Yeah.
resist.
I
Although
had
I
a
was
hard time
tempted by
which
the
one to pick.
snail. I really liked the snail.
I liked all of them, so I'm like,
I know. Like which
Yeah, I was thinking about bringing some fairies into the snail one, but I thought, "No, maybe, maybe that was what was down the road."
I did um the Happy Man, the puppet one.
Mhm.
mhm.
My husband and I used to have a puppet ministry, so um his brows hung above his sparkling eyes, and they danced as he told of the smiles on the tots' faces he had entertained that day. He was a truly happy man. The soot from the smokestacks landed on his cheeks in speckled mass, but he didn't care.
Nice.
Mm,
I like how we
mm.
have examples from each prompt.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Everybody was drawn to a different one.
Which one did you pick, Brandy?
I ended up going with the sword one. Yeah. Just looking in the chat real quick here.
Are you going to read it?
I said,
I really love both of those two one-liners. I mean, they both just were like they were one line,
Mhm,
but boy, they made you think, right? They
mhm.
just,
Yeah.
mhm.
yeah, so
Yep.
powerful. But yeah, if you want to read it, go ahead and read it, what you wrote.
Um, Maddie, shall I read yours? Or do you want to read yours? Or
Yeah,
no?
go ahead.
Where is,
Oh,
did
yeah,
she
why don't you go ahead?
put something
Oh, you
in?
want me to? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We are left with a fractured piece of what we once had. Our childhood is incomplete. Our enemies, though we try to flee, continue to pursue. There is no peace. All is broken, but not all is lost. Reunite these pieces of what once was. Return to your families, bring them to safety. I am ever on guard to protect what we have found. Now behold this, a pile of what? Ruin is all that we have. But we must take this and build our city, for that is all that we have left. It takes the spirit of one that will carry on to meet the battle's end.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
Thank
want to read
you.
that whole story.
Oh, thank you. I haven't quite gotten to writing this one yet. This is probably in my next project. So that
Oh my
might,
gosh,
I don't
that's
know, that's
so
probably
great.
going to be a year or so down the road. But thank you so much.
Well,
Yeah,
let
it's
me
such
give
a
you a
rousing speech. I mean, wow.
well
Thank
done,
you.
everybody.
Everybody,
Yeah, it was.
love
It
to
was
hear everybody's voice. Everything was so
Yes.
good.
Yes. Well, with that, I think we conclude great sentences, prompts from the past.
that was fun.
That was so fun.
And I commend
Was.
you too, Brandy, for finding like things that none of these were sentences that I mean, a couple of them were kind of familiar. I guess it was a storm dark night.
It was, but it
But
wasn't.
exactly, but even it wasn't. So, these were like different kinds of sentences, not the ones that, we hear, we kind of know. So
Mhm.
A little off the
kudos
beaten
to
path.
you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. All
Just goes to
right.
show that there are gems everywhere that you don't expect.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. And it actually makes me want to get Hans Christian Andersen. I've read Grimm fairy tales before. I read them before I had children, and I was an adult and had to stop reading them because I was having nightmares so badly. I
Oh,
mean,
Mm.
yeah.
they can be so
I
scary.
I can't even begin to read them.
Yeah. So, but I'd like to read. I've read The Little Mermaid. That is so different. If you've
It is
not
very
read The Little
different.
Mermaid,
Nope. Nope. Nope.
very
Nope. Nope.
different ending and very different story altogether. I mean, it's so
Yep.
tragic. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it makes me want to get a collection of Anderson's fairy tales and become more familiar with them.
Well, you can find them on Gutenberg,
Yep.
or you can find various publications of them on
Yeah,
Amazon, but
Hmm.
Gutenberg is free.
that's
Gutenberg.org.
right.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. All right. So thanks everybody. I mean, you guys are brilliant. These brilliant writing just off, the tops of your head. And it was just wonderful. It was
Great
just
job with that big chunk of a thing I threw at you.
yes,
Right. Wow.
that was so, so good.
That
So
was work.
next week I'm on the schedule. Oh yes, read a classic month, and we're going to talk about the last lines of the classic. And we did say we are not defining a classic. You can define that yourself, but we hope everybody will come prepared to talk about the last lines in a classic. And
I'm
Brandy, do you
resisting the urge to
have,
not go to the end of mine.
oh, what are you reading?
Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, that's a
Mm.
good one. That is a good one. Brandy, do you have any more like guidelines or anything? Because I've gone through like I've read three classics this past year. They're all kids' books, what considered children's classics, and I've looked at the last pages of them again, and it's like I can't just read the last line. I'd have to read at least for Black Beauty. It was like I'd have to read half a page, to get that
Yeah.
out there.
Well,
So
in order for this
what are
to
you
work,
thinking? Yes,
you
yes.
need to be able to give a brief synopsis of what the
Mhm.
core of the story
Wow.
is so
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
you can tell what the last lines are and then share how that resonated with you or not. For instance, I have read several of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, and some of them have been like, well, what was that about? And
Yeah.
others have been like, oof, got me right here,
Right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So be able to synopsize what you have read. Don't tell every plot hole and subplot and all that,
Sure.
just the core,
Short.
just the core. And then share the last lines and why you think it's good or not good or how it
Okay.
left you feeling. And maybe somebody else that has also read the story can chime in on their thoughts as well.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to just kind of look at how things used to wrap up because things, are different. That's kind of the reason I did this come right with us the way that I did to prepare a little bit for next week, get you
Mhm.
thinking along the lines of classics and how sentences can be different from what they were to what they are today. And, we know to expect things to be a little bit different, but still a story is a story. But that
Yeah.
also means that sometimes endings had different goals then than they do now. And so
Hmm.
that's also something that, we could discuss. We'll see how it goes. It'll be a free flowing sharing time between everybody that has come and has read
Oh,
something.
it's going
So,
to be fun.
I
yeah.
think it will be fun too. It's going to be a good time. Okay. And then looking ahead, we don't have many more episodes this year because of course we take off the week of Thanksgiving. We take off 2 weeks in December, like right before Christmas and in between Christmas and New Year's. So we are having a couple guests within the next few episodes that we have left for this year, but mostly we're doing more casual things. Like we're going to have another come right with us. We are going to have, I want to go ahead and throw this out, December 2nd. We're going to do a writer's chat unplugged that will not be recorded. So if that's one that you want to make sure you're here for, you have to be here for that one because it will not be recorded. We're gonna ask you all for feedback. So we want that to be a very open time for everybody to be able to talk freely, as we always do for Unplugged. I don't think we ever record the Unplugged
No,
episode.
we never do. Yeah.
No.
So that's December 2nd. So just, be aware of that one coming up. And then I think we're doing like a Christmas party as our last season of the year. And I guess if you're watching the replay, let me just again welcome you and say, please feel free to join our Writers Chat Facebook members group, and then also check out our Writers Chat Facebook page and our Writers Chat YouTube channel. And you can find all these episodes, and we have a slew of them, like over 300. So that's been really great. I guess I'll throw this out here too, that when we've celebrated our eighth birthday a couple years last year, and so this year was our ninth birthday. But this year, I found two different things: an email to my agent inviting her to be on Writers Chat, and an old thing that popped up on Facebook Memories. We are actually 10 years old and probably started in at least September. So we're going to have to readjust our birthday and make it September, but we are officially 10 years old. So that was really fun to finally see
Yep.
some clarification about when we started. But I had emailed my agent, said, "Can you join us? We're doing this new thing. We've had a couple episodes," and that was early October. So I'm pretty sure we started in September. So that was neat. All right, so I think that's everything. We're so glad y'all are here, and we'll see you next week. Tuesdays, 11 Eastern, 10 Central, around the globe. Find your time zone. Bye, everybody.